If you let the environment outside affect your inner environment, then you are ignorant, then you are dumb. But if you let your inner environment influence your outer environment, then you are on the path of enlightenment, I would say. Because how you feel inside, how calm, settled, quiet you feel, and you are rendering that peace, harmony to your outside environment, then together you are able to change what is outside there. And instead of blaming that is what I'm feeling good or bad, you're actually influencing it in a positive way.
Hey, Better Together with Maria Menounos fans. It's me, Mr. Maria Menounos, substituting for my beautiful and talented wife, and bringing you part 2 of our interview with Dr. Suhas. We're going to be talking about his book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. I encourage you, if you haven't not heard part 1, please listen to part 1, because there's so many easy life changes to apply with your daily schedule that will profoundly impact your happiness, your anxiety levels, your stress levels, weight gain, weight loss, all of it. Anyway, that being said, we're going to bring you part 2 of our great interview with Dr. Suhas, and we'll do a little post-discussion too, and introduce you to a new staff member on the show as well.
What?
Yes, we will.
Wow.
Wow.
And hint, it's not Vincenza.
No, because she's a long-term staff member,
That's
as you know.
right.
She gets paid a lot. She doesn't do that much, but she tries.
She's so valuable, though.
Yes.
Look at her.
Yep.
Cool.
She gets her participation trophy. Anyway.
Stay tuned. Stick around.
I think, it's funny, when we open the interview, we keep hearing from people like you, doctor, how important awareness is. And I know that's the one thing that was missing in my life, in my 20th century pursuit of success, till the pandemic, is such a lack of awareness. Yeah. Just work. I was just taught, hey, get up, work harder, suck it up, and I did. And I have a lot of blessings because of it. But I also now know that I'd be more successful and have so many more blessings health-wise and whatever if I took the pauses and had awareness, like you're saying to have. Like, what is my body type, and what how do I respond best in days? And do you even get into?
And interestingly speaking, Kevin,
Go ahead.
about the reason why I wrote my book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, was, if you look closely, about 10 to 12 years ago, life was not that busy. Okay.
Right.
2004, there was no Facebook. 2005, there was no Twitter. 2006, there was no Instagram. 2007 was the first smartphone that Apple launched. Okay. Up to 1999, only 20% of the world was using internet. And we are here at this stage where about 93% of the world is using internet. So life has become completely different in the last 10 to 12 years. And we are facing the brunt of the high pace of life. Our kids are facing the brunt of it with the intensity, what we are exposing them so early in life. At least we have a refined nervous system. They have a tender nervous system, but they have no idea how to digest and how to metabolize these experiences. And they're growing up with this, having a lot of challenges, emotionally, physiologically, and more importantly, finding the purpose in life. What do they want to achieve and accomplish? Because it was something that you learn, you go to school, you get a job, you slowly build your reserves, you find a house, you get into a relationship. All of that thing is something. But now everything is increasing the pace, where people want to retire in their 40s. And the diseases, what they were supposed to have in their 60s, they'll get that in the 40s because they have increased the pace of life. Yeah. And everything that they're doing is so quick. And I jokingly tell many of my patients, for a fast-acting relief, try slowing down.
Try slowing down. The thing, going back to what you just said about our brains and nervous systems being formed, talk about what is this doing to children who are not fully formed, being on the phone or being on the computer all day long, getting the highs of like getting a like on an Instagram post and the lows when you don't get it. But I think I would guess there's a correlation between their brains growing, these little baby brains growing, and then this, this 24/7 accessibility to social media and tech and whatnot.
Well, it's all hormonal and biochemical in its nature. You can give a dopamine hit to someone by saying something nice to someone on Instagram, and suddenly they would feel so elated and happy. And you can put them into depths of despair by putting or posting a nasty comment, and it'll linger into their system all day long by someone saying something bad about them. So serotonin, adrenal, dopamine, these are very sensitive hormones and chemicals in the body that they are at the whims and fancies of people that you even don't know. You have never seen in your life.
No.
And you are giving the keys of your happiness to those people. We call it as cortisol curve. So the cortisol curve is all up and down all day long. And it's just a matter of time because of that, where you develop an autoimmune condition or you start gaining weight or you start having a terrible lifestyle disease or something like that. And we are seeing those diseases happening in the kids before they turn 20, 25 years of age.
And is that one of the reasons why I hear so many young people with high anxiety?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
They
depression.
have high anxiety, and they feel lost. They feel depressed to a greater extent. The emotional resiliency is quite a bit affected for the kids because they're exposed to this way too early. And they don't know how to manage the monster. Okay, we created these things to help us to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're using us, and we are losing total control over this. And I think the one good thing about this pandemic, we are suddenly realizing that we have to go back to the priorities in life. We have to bridge the humanities. We have to be there to help each other and to be better together. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, because going back to the family lives, going back to the community, even the countries are bridging the boundaries. They are not on silos, an island that is yours, that is mine. We are all helping each other.
We have to.
In order to deal with this pandemic. We are helping each other. And one thing that we have realized, all of us, that it's not the virus. It's not the virus or the pandemic. It's the endemic. It's the internal state. What responds to the virus is what creates the fatal condition. Your immunity, your vitality, what you eat, how you live, how you think, how you relax, how you unwind, how much you exercise, how much time you spend outdoors. These are becoming very practical, precious forms of medicine now. Because at the end of the day, your life is the most important tool that you have.
Yeah.
And you are solely responsible for that.
So do you think for parents, you probably recommend no phones? I know some parents who do not allow phones or they don't allow video games, but would you recommend that if you're going to allow it, do you try to structure it? Like, how do you handle this?
Absolutely. You need to create some structure and boundaries for sure. Means if they need to go out and they need to have something to call or something, yeah, it's there. It's important. Means we all went to school without our cell phones, needing to call our parents. Is that right?
Yes.
We're creating needs. Means sometimes if some of my patients report that if they forget the phone and they are on the freeway, they get a panic attack because as if they can't drive without the help of their phone. They don't know where they're going. And good old days, we used to function with those AAA maps open by the roadside and know where we are going. Is that right? We used to take vacations and road trips just like that a few years ago. Yeah. And now that need is slowly making us, I would say, dumb to a certain extent.
Yes.
Where we have forgotten to think where we are going and what we are trying to go, and keeping things in mind, whether it's number, people, events, whatever it is happening, we are outsourcing that to this little gadget, which sometimes is not helping us.
Yeah, no. Wow. Doctor, so you're
well,
doing...
I don't want to sound so depressive.
No,
okay?
no. I'm processing all this. You see me taking fastidious notes, but because I'm guilty of a lot of this stuff, but again, the awareness from the show and people like you is just making me understand how much of this is so connected and how important it is. Yes, Kelsey.
I have a question. Dr. Suhas, if you had to tell people like one place they get all this great information and they're like, oh my gosh, where do I start? What would be a good starting place for everyone? Would it be shutting their phones off early, or I don't know? Curious.
I think one of the most important advice I tell people is to meditate. Okay. Whenever you close your eyes and find time for meditation, 10, 15, 20 minutes in the morning, 10, 15, 20 minutes in the evening, that your ability to connect with your own inner self, your own thoughts, what you're feeling, why you're feeling, and how you're able to come out of that and make changes. What you eat, how you live, when you go to sleep. I think meditation is one of the most potent self-referral activity that creates self-awareness. And that self-awareness leads to making the right kind of changes. That leads to physical movements, exercising, prioritizing things, understanding what is right for you, what is not right for you, all of those things. So that is an important tool.
I love that.
So I think any form of meditation, any form of good, decent prayer or mindful activity that you can do, it actually puts you onto the track of leading your life in a mindful way. And that will open up many doors for you to learn, listen, understand, and realize that you can make changes and you are able to make those changes. We use a term in medicine which is called as interoceptive awareness. Interoceptive awareness is how your physiological state is affected with how you pay attention to it. And this is the biggest takeaway point from our session today, Kevin. Okay. If you let the environment outside affect your inner environment, then you are ignorant, then you're dumb. But if you let your inner environment influence your outer environment, then you are on the path of enlightenment, I would say. Because how you feel inside, how calm, settled, quiet you feel, and you're rendering that peace, harmony to your outside environment, then together you are able to change what is outside there. And instead of blaming that is what I'm feeling good or bad, you're actually influencing it in a positive way.
And when we talk environment, are we talking, what about toxic people that you're around?
Well, you allow them to bug you and bother you and affect you. If you look closely, they are troubled people. They have some challenges and problems. So if you take it too personally and thinking that someone is trying to hurt you, then you feel disempowered, you feel weak, and you feel victim. But if you look at them and probably forgive them to a certain extent, maybe even help them to the best of your ability and not take it too personally, you actually raise your own vibrations and you feel more empowered and more in control and probably feel good about dealing with them properly.
Right. Because if you don't, then that could physically age and make you sick too, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And that there's a little buffer that we create. That buffer is not allowing every experience to enter your own system, your own body, your own physiology as is. You keep it there and filter it, buffer it. We call it as the art of metabolizing experience. And the art of metabolizing experience is what you take in, you have a choice. If it goes in as is, then you have no control to buffer it, to soften it, to change it. Make sense?
Yes. And so how do we buffer it?
By mindfulness, by meditation, by self-awareness, by pausing and quietening and understanding, giving the benefit of doubt others, making people feel appreciated, important, listening instead of talking too much, paying attention to your inner state, how you feel at a given moment, tapping into your own reserves, making proactive changes one step at a time, adopting healthier habits. All of those things, it slowly reprograms itself. The physical, mental, emotional well-being, it's all interconnected. And the resiliency that you create with that is also important. So when we say science of life as Ayurveda, it is a natural medicine. It is something which tells you about every life experience, how it affects you. Because as a human being, you don't have choice to dictate everything what is happening in your life, but you have a choice how you respond to that. And I think that happens with self-awareness
Yeah.
and being self-referral and being mindful and
And
making the right changes that at your own level that you're able to do that.
and I think how you respond internally. I know there's a response of what I'm going to say to this person or how I'm going to react to the situation, but I think it's internally. Am I going to get really stressed out about this? Am I going to get really angry at myself or ashamed of myself or hurt? Like you said, if you get that bad comment you read and that stays with you all day, I think it's choosing to say, hey, that's a stranger I don't even know. And that person's probably having a really bad day and has nothing to do with me.
That's exactly what it is. We at the Chopra Center, we use an acronym called as SODA, SODA. S stands for stop. O stands for observe. D stands for detach. And A stands for act. So any experience that you are going through right now, you're just stopping there before it goes in. And you're observing how you feel about it. And then you detach from that experience, whether it's good or bad, no matter which way it is. And then you act in a non-biased way, in a non-judgmental way, in a state of equanimity. And the more you practice SODA, the more easily it will become a way of your attitude or how you think.
Wow. That could be one of the greatest gifts that you gave us today. And doctor, for you, were you always practicing this, or did you go through you were so accomplished and so well read, and I'm sure you had to burn the candle at both ends through medical school and whatnot. Is this something you learned, or were you always practicing these?
I was born and brought up in a Vedic culture, so I was surrounded with a lot of these things and grew up in a wonderful joint family back in a rural place in India, and had excellent parents who were great role models for me. So it became a little easy. The fun started when I stepped outside India and started traveling around the globe and interacting with a lot of Western people and Western families and living in different cultures in different countries in the world. So I started realizing this Vedic way of living, and especially some of the core components of Ayurveda, how practical and how relevant they are. Okay. And so as a human being, I get angry sometimes, I feel unhappy sometimes. All of those things happen. And I have a busy business myself also. But at the end of the day, you suddenly realize and you start making those interjections at every point in time. And you start noticing that it doesn't bug you as much. It doesn't bother you as much. It doesn't overwhelm you as much. You still feel productive to participate in your own health and well-being. That's important. You have to participate in your own health and well-being by doing everything what is right for you and not outsource it to anyone else. So as I started doing that, I started feeling that way. My wife is also an Ayurvedic doctor. My son is also an Ayurvedic doctor. So together as a family, practicing here in Northern California in Santa Cruz, in the beautiful coastal city of Santa Cruz, we all think, believe, and act in this way of living, and then sharing that with our students and clients alike.
With the world. Wow, the book is Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. I think it seems, listen, nothing's easy, but I think this is pretty tangible. I think, if we just look at our schedules and make these changes and we trust the process, I think the results will be incredible. So, Doctor, I thank you so much for your work and for coming on the show and for helping Kelsey. And let's please keep in touch. And I'm sure we're going to have you back.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. People can look me up on my website, ayurvedichealing.net, which is AYURVEDIC, healing, HEALING.net. Or definitely you can find all my books on Amazon. These books have been translated in 13 different languages.
Wow.
So you can be able to find a copy in your own language of choice.
Yeah, and we didn't even get into how this will affect your weight. We talked more about aging and just mental health, but I think it's a key to weight loss. So if you're someone who wants to who is concerned with that, the changing your schedule to change your life is going to affect that. And then also I know the hot belly diet as well as one of the other books you put out too. So just I want to make that mention as well. Dr. Sousa, thank you once again. And
thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having, and we are absolutely right. We are better together. And I like the theme of lemons because
thank
you
you.
have to give them lemons and teach them how to make the lemonade, which is suitable for each one of them, and enjoy that.
Right. And when we squeeze it in hot water, as you know, it's a little bit of a detoxifier too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you again, Doctor.
Thanks, Dr. Suhas.
Wow.
Take care, Kelsey. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Doctor. Wow. You know, Kelsey, it's like
he's so awesome.
It's stuff that we can apply. I mean, like, again, it's not rocket science.
No. It's just something that, like, we've been so disciplined another way by our society and, like, the Western culture, and, like, oh, it's cool to, like, I mean,
because we lack that one word.
Discipline? Awareness?
Awareness, Kels, because we just, you know, like, I'm tired, I have a Diet Coke or a coffee.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is fun.
I'm snacky at night, let's eat a whole bag of popcorn.
Hello,
right, it's fun.
Right, yeah. Oh, my God, you know, this is on YouTube. I go down that TikTok rabbit hole.
Same.
It's 3 a.m.
Same.
Like, oh.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm going to binge the friggin' whatever. I'm going to binge The Sopranos in one night. Right. Okay.
Right.
Like, woo. It's just because no awareness.
No awareness. And then we bitch and complain about.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And blame.
Right. Oh,
everybody.
I do all the time.
Everybody.
I know.
This president, the last one, our parents. Oh, yeah. Wow.
But it's little tweaks. And it's not like I remember when I first met with him and he was telling me to get bed earlier and get up earlier. And I'm still working on it. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And I know that like the mornings I do, it's like a whole
But I think that
world.
sometimes you know, you have to hear things over and over again. That's why I'm always taking notes, right?
Yeah.
And then you transcribe those notes. And
yeah.
So I think hearing it again, I know I'm going to make some tweaks, but I think with you, I like this 2 hours, nothing, and 2 hours at bedtime, nothing.
Agreed.
I think we should have to get you to call it off earlier.
Yes.
Right? So you have that 2 hours of like, no, I'm just going to do whatever I want.
Right. And maybe that goes back to the Greg McEwen talked about his like must-do list, right? Because I always write a list at my to-do list at the beginning of the day.
What has to get done.
Right. So maybe it's that.
And listen, there's going to be times where we all have to redline.
Of course.
But I think that those 2 hours in the morning to do something for you could be workout. And you know, when I look at this in a very gray way, I kind of do this.
You do.
Yeah, the bowl of cereal comes out and I'm like, then I shouldn't be having a bowl of cereal that late at night. But I'm like, and it's not every night. Sometimes it's the coconut yogurt and sometimes it's nothing. It should just be nothing. But when I'm just like, no, I'm out. I'm done.
Right.
The problem is, though, is I still am looking at the phone. I'm responding to texts, emails.
Same.
You know, if I'm getting messages and...
Well, that's the first thing we all do. I wake up and I'm, responding to text, emails. But it's like...
I'm doing it all through the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and certainly before bed. So I'm actually going to think about, I have some old iPhones that are really too dated to be phones, but are good for, I could listen to podcasts, which I like to do. I fall asleep to them.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have them so they'll only play for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to keep them on all night because your brain will keep working. You fall asleep and you won't really get a deep sleep. So it's just enough to help me fall asleep. Yeah. Then I'm out. So I do need that, unfortunately.
And I get that.
You know, so I don't have a workaround for that yet, but No,
I like that. What I thought of is I actually got, and Dr. Littman talked about this, I believe, on our episode, the alarm clocks that you can wake up with the sunlight. Because it's
I thought we have one.
Yeah. No, so you got me one. So it's like so dark down in the room down here. So when I wake up, it's like, and then Kevin got me this alarm clock that it's like the light turns on like the sun. Mm-hmm. So what I might try and do is because I know we all use our phones for our alarms. So I have like 14 alarms on here and then one on the other one. But I might put it outside the room. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm done. 2 hours at like 8. Like it's, and that's reasonable, you guys. Like I have to convince myself sometimes that that's reasonable, but like.
Well, I think you'll be more effective. Everything will get better.
Totally.
Like, so just keep thinking like in the big picture. I think we always think it's just selfish. Like, you know, and we don't, we think we think of it like we're, I don't know, going on spring break. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're thinking of it like, that it's so irresponsible when in fact it's quite the opposite.
Right.
It's the healthiest act you can do that will serve you. But if it's not good enough to serve you, it's going to serve everyone else around you.
Yep.
You're going to be clearer. You're going to be more effective. You're going to be positive, like sharper.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think, I don't think when people are working on anything, when everyone is just wiped out and exhausted and just eating really bad food to pump themselves. I think, sure, there's a time in companies where, I don't know, let's just say it's a Christmas rush, fine.
Yeah.
In show business, let's say we're making a movie.
Right.
And we all have to and we have a deadline, fine. But I think that, over the long haul, you have to have more of a pace like this. Is Pooja there?
She is there. Such a
Hi,
queen.
Queen.
Hey, Queen.
Wait,
So, Pooj, what did you think of Dr. Suhas?
I loved him. I think I have to definitely start implementing his blue light suggestion, not sleeping with my screen. I know you guys were talking about that. I do it. The first thing I do when I wake up is check my text. The first thing I do before I go to bed, check my text. And I think, someone else was saying how the blue light makes you hungry. It disrupts your sleep. And I've been doing the setting though, where you turn it all the way to the warm light.
Yes.
And I keep it on throughout the whole day. And it is helping. It definitely helps. But yeah, I loved his suggestions. I think the 2 hours, giving yourself 2 hours before sleeping and eating. Me and Kels were texting about this. We're like, we can't give up our snacking. My late night snack is my favorite time.
I know, me too.
I want my cookie dough.
Yeah, I get it.
All of us.
Well, here's the thing too. When you're young, your body can handle it. And I knew somebody, actually, he was Indian as well. He's a doctor, and his thing was, and man, he's like 70, but he looks like he's like 45. He's a kind of famous doctor too. So I'll let people figure it out. But anyway, no one knows his age, but he's in his 70s, which is like, huh? But every year he cuts back 10% of unhealthy habits. So let's say he was having a bowl of ice cream every night, he would have, say, 10% less of that. Or maybe if he would cut that out as his 10% of desserts he would have that week. I don't know, but it's kind of interesting. So when you're young, listen, obviously you want to, if we all lived like what he was saying in the book, will be great. But when you're young, you have more resilience and strength to deal with that stuff. I think the biggest concern, though, is, Pooja, for you, is during your brain's formative years. How old are you now?
I'm 21.
21. So, I mean, there's studies that say your brain's not fully formed till you're 23.
Right.
So, this is where the concern is. And it really struck me when he said we are going to see shortened lives.
For the first time ever.
Well, as I've said about your generation, I've told you that before. At Harvard University, I studied FTL, failure to launch. The millennials are going to be the first generation to not pass the one before them, which again, it's not the millennials' fault. I know the parents all had the hand in this, and society too. But I think that now to hear that you're probably going to live shorter lives. Oof.
Well, and I can't even I think yes to the millennials definitely, but I look at Gen Z who grew up with phones in their hand. I'm so grateful that I kind of skipped Instagram a little bit.
It's probably going to hit them worse.
It's scary.
Yeah.
So you got to be aware of that, Pooja.
Too. Yeah, he was talking about how the dopamine hits and the serotonin with Instagram. I got Instagram in 6th grade.
Holy cow. Kevin, that's not queen-like.
Oh my God! Aren't we all? You're a queen in 6th grade, no? No.
Okay.
According to the queens, one thing I've noticed about queen culture, you're born a queen. There's no judgment, and you get compliments for everything. Like even the way she pushed the camera away, I was like, "Oh my God, such a boss, such a queen, totally owning it." Ridiculous. The way she moved the camera, right?
Ridiculous.
All right, so go back. So 6th grade,
that's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I wasn't allowed to have Facebook. That was a big thing. Some of my friends had Facebook, and my mom's like, no, it's dangerous. You can't have Facebook. And then Instagram came out, which is basically just Facebook, but a different platform.
Almost worse.
And she's like, okay, I had to convince her.
She didn't know.
Right. And everyone was getting it. It was new. So she was like, sure, I guess. She was super. It took me at least 2 months to convince her. It took me a long time. And I got it. And I remember, and this went into high school. Even in high school, I would be deleting posts, like if I didn't get enough likes or
Oh my
enough comments.
gosh.
I would like, my friends and I knew the times, like 4 and 6 p.m. on Thursdays,
Yeah.
at least when I was in high school, middle school, where it's the time to post, you get the most likes, and
Mm.
you would text in the group chat like, comment now,
Yeah.
like now, and
Why,
it was
Kelsey's
makes-
like
it
jaws
actually
open.
made me
Kelsey,
concerned.
this is very important information for some of our younger fans. All right, this is
Kevin.
wonderful. So what? I need
That's
to write this down.
horrifying.
We need to
It's
post between
horrifying.
That's
Like,
so sad.
it's really sad.
what? And this is why we have so many queens.
But like for real,
No,
that's so
it's-
scary.
But
it's scary. And
it's-
now that
yeah.
obviously I'm older and like,
it's horrible.
I'm so old. I'm 21. I'm
Yeah, you're
wise.
Well, I think
Over the hill.
I think I was hearing from people that there's going to actually be, for the next generation, there's going to be timeouts, like phone timeouts. Like that's it. Like all of that stuff goes in a bag, and we're all going to go sit in the grass. I think.
Well, Hannah Stocking talked about that. Remember?
Yeah. She's older, but I think like when I'm
Yeah.
saying the 12 and 13-year-olds, we're going to get wise. You know,
Hope
I don't
so.
know if this is always the way in society, and I should know from history, but I feel like the people who rock high continue to rock higher, and the people who rock low can continue to rock lower. So where we get all this great information and we're learning,
Oh, I get it.
you know, the do's and don'ts. I feel like there's this percentage of people who are like, you know, well educated and go, yeah, I get it. It's not about the likes. It's not about the money. It's about the, and yeah, so it's amazing. But I feel like the people who are low, unfortunately, are going low, are going to be doubling, tripling down more on the phones and more on the drugs and more on the stimulants and more on so I don't know.
It's just so wild because now it's like we've made it. It's such a culture that like all these younger kids just want to be like TikTok famous and want to be Instagram famous. So it's like, and we've told them
I mean,
that they have to.
It is kind of cool to be a
queen.
And
we've told them though what they have to do is consistently post and consistently
have
be
to keep
on there, and
posting.
you have to like
Yes, live your best life. Yeah. Oh
Right.
yeah.
But like,
Well, it is crazy now. Like there was someone who went into a school, like some YouTuber, and they were asking kids, what do you want to be? And when I was younger, it was like doctor, lawyer,
Yeah.
astronaut. And all these kids said
Sucker.
YouTuber or TikToker.
Yes.
yep.
Like
Yes.
it's actually crazy. It's
Yes.
like now a career that
It's
you
a
can
Yes.
it's a career for everybody, and it's going to be fantastic because the more of these videos we make, it's going to drive the economy in the most amazing way. Haven't really figured that out yet, but yeah, there's room for everybody to be a TikTok star. This is what's exciting. This is what I salute. You should see me, Pooja. We had the one of these plumbers that had to crawl under our crawl space, which I've been under many times, and I had to say to Kelsey, like, forget these clowns. We need to go meet the TikTok stars who are really contributing to society. And then Kelsey was like, damn right.
I was like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right, Kevin.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Well, you know what, guys? It all goes back to mom and dad. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like it's not, so I will tell you, being home here, I have had the blessings of dealing with some children who came from pretty, it seems, strict-ish families. They were happy with the moms and dads, and the children were happy, but it was one family, no video games at all. Like they would play them over friends' houses.
Yeah.
And then I know another family was no phones, no technology, nothing. But when I'll say these were the most connected young men and women I met, they would look me in the eye and shake my hand. And I know one of them, even for, his grandmother, this kid was 17. You met him, I think, at the house here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, he was awesome.
and his grandmother was my mother-in-law's sister, who was coming down to pay her respects to Lisa. And he was like, no, Grandma, I don't want you having to go through that. You're going to be an emotional wreck. I'm going to drive you. And he just came down here,
So
and he was just this incredible young man and gentleman. And he, he didn't indulge in any of that stuff. He wasn't allowed to growing up. And again, that's not fun for a parent. Maria's dad used to always say, do you think I enjoy saying no to you? You think I like this? All I want to do is make you happy. But no, you're not going to date before a certain age. No, you're not going away on spring break as a high school person. Like he did all those uncomfortable, unpopular things, and hello, now you see Maria.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but it stinks. But I empathize with the parent who is exhausted, working 60 hours a week to keep the roof overhead, and then I hear them and they say, the last thing I want to do is fight at 9 at night.
Totally.
I don't have, and I get it. I totally get it, and I understand. But that's why, as a community, teachers and parents, we all need to come together and say, come on. Like, the brains are forming, the dopamine hits, like all those chemicals going into a little kid's brain that's being formed. Like, hello.
I know.
So you wonder why. And did you see what he said about not having the emotional resilience?
Mm-hmm.
And Kelsey and I have talked about that. We see a little bit with Gen Z. Pooj is for all the great things your generation has, we don't see a lot of resilience for
very sensitive
for day-to-day things where we know people that have been raped and arrested and like crazy stuff that are not as that have more resilience, and I think he had mentioned that was interesting. And where that comes from is in the brain's formative years and all the stuff that we're putting on the kids, or that are put on the kids. So,
well, and the anxiety thing, I mean, the anxiety and depression at younger and younger ages, it's like, how,
it's heavy.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. So, I mean, listen, I think if we can all start with scheduling, I think this book is really important. And
meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just some easy things, though, to do here.
Yep.
I think that we can apply, and then we have to try to police with the kids. And I think I love the fact that Maria's dad explained that. Like, I wouldn't have got that explanation. I would have gotten a smack. But they would know. But both my parents were tired too. We overpowered them. Oh my God, we were awful. We were.
Well, yeah, the parents who have multiple children.
They were 3 kids. Yeah. Well, they were just exhausted from so many jobs, trying to make a better life for us. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we just overpowered. My mother tried. My mother did try to say, no, this is not right. Don't. And he was like, he just wanted to see us happy. And I think that's unfortunate that a lot of parents get to that place, and then they get guilty,
right?
Because they don't think they're working so many hours, so they want whatever time they have with them to be amazing, or they want to make up with it financially.
Yep.
And this is kind of the cycle. And I think the more we just get back to just being with each other, and being happier with less.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say. Like, I know for friends and parents that I had growing up, it was like, my good friend's mom worked a ton, owned a business, and I know always felt guilty that she couldn't give her, my friend, anything. But the difference was we didn't really have the phones and we didn't have that sort of thing. So she would take her shopping, or at least they were spending time together, right? At least it was like, I
think if you're in that situation, you have to educate the child constantly, not reprimand and not talk down to them, but bring them in on it. Like, hey, we have these things, because I'm working like this. Yeah. We can get rid of all that stuff and we can just be together, but it seems like you enjoy whatever activity or whatever these amenities. And so, but we just, but and life is not easy, and you're going to learn too. You're going to have to go out there and provide in this way as well. And I just think a lot of that kind of just gets lost, because we're so busy. There's no pause. Right. There's no pause. Like, I don't have time to sit and explain. Well, you kind of have to.
You have to make the time
and make and I think those people, like, I mean, listen, if I have to be working and I'm lucky enough to have kids, I mean, I'm going to probably bring them along with me and teach them and make it fun and teach them. Ryan Seacrest was on he used to sit on his dad's calls. That was a lawyer, and he'd be making deals, and Ryan would pull up a chair and he'd sit, and you can see why. Like, light years ahead of someone like me who had God bless my dad, a construction worker as a father, So
whatever happened to take your kids to work day? That was my favorite. We would always go.
Well, probably cranky bosses and stuff, but I think a lot of that stuff will come back because places you work are going to realize.
Did you used to go with your parents, Pooch?
Yeah. So my parents, they're both physicians, so sometimes they work together, and when they did, they would bring us in sometimes.
So fun.
We'd see stomach, like the inside of a stomach. We're like, this is sick. Like, oh my God, mom and dad are working with blood and guts. We got a kick out of it. But yeah, I think. And then
you took the selfie.
And then you took a selfie.
I wasn't old enough yet. Then I was still pretty young.
Screwed again, Pooja. Screwed again. Now that you're with us, though, no more. We don't let that stuff go.
Oh my God.
Always getting the selfie. It's all about the like, and it's all about being a what, Kelsey?
Queen.
I'm forgetting what show this is. This is Better Together.
Yeah,
This is not Regular Guy
RGF.
Friday. Okay. Well, just forget everything I said.
Wrong show,
I'm sorry.
wrong show.
I'm sorry. Well,
RGF is
anyway,
tomorrow, though.
Pooja, welcome to the team. Pooja's been working with us for actually quite some time. But I love it.
the
I love that
best.
we have three generations here.
Me too.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, don't forget about Winnie, okay?
Oh, and Vincenzo. Vincenzo was kind of bored with this one. She fell asleep.
Yeah. I think that's good, though.
Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
And
Let us know what you're going to do and try to change your life.
Yeah,
Change your schedule.
I feel like, we haven't been doing many asks lately because we've just been too busy pushing and doing. We obviously have our Patreon for ad-free content, and then also for our Heal events that we do, and then we do a special episode once a week as well.
That's right.
And yeah, just continue. Please spread the word. Tell friends about us, and subscribe to YouTube, and
Follow us on Instagram.
and leave comments on iTunes if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe there, and leave comments as well. You guys have all been great, and our YouTube numbers are growing.
They are.
Kelsey was the one who checked me when I said, "Hey, all we have to do is hold the fort down," and Kelsey was like, "F that, let's
Yeah.
grow." And
I'm like, what kind of attitude is that?
well,
I'm just kidding.
because it's Maria Menounos, and those are big shoes. But I said all we have to do is just listen. Tom Brady's out for 4 games. He's suspended. All we got to do is go 2-2. That's what they did.
We got it.
They were 500, and then they went to win the Super Bowl.
We got it.
So,
But yeah, Kevin's right on the thing. I love the Apple podcast reviews, and we've been forgetting to say that because those make the world of difference. And I know when people are looking for new podcasts to listen to, they always go to and they read the reviews and see how many there are. So the ones that are on there are incredible, and we ask if you can, if you haven't left a review yet, to head over to Apple Podcasts and leave one, because
that would help us a lot.
Yeah, and Maria still reads them, and
She
it's just
does,
like,
thank God. Yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't gotten. Okay, so I hate saying this because the trolls could easily come out with the 1 star and say, "You know what I hate? I
Yeah.
hate Kevin, and I hate Kelsey, and
Yeah.
I need Maria back." Then we're done.
oh yeah, that's true.
Then we're done. In
No,
some ways,
we don't
but
want
then she
that.
comes back faster, which is good. And I'd have to say, I feel like there's going to be maybe a bit of a hiatus
Yeah.
that we could take for some time over the summer for all of us to catch our breath, and then I think
And come back better and
Big-
stronger,
yeah, with-
and like
with our starting quarterback.
and our new ideas
Yeah.
and our higher vibe.
Mhm.
Now we got our A squad, our A
Yep.
team. Yeah, so
So I think that there's a lot of exciting.
we need to
things.
lick our wounds a little.
Yeah, and learn and take. And again, everything this guy opened this interview today, Dr. Suhas opened an interview today about awareness.
Totally.
And most of us just like, because we just work harder. Let's just do more shows. Let's just keep building. Let's do what you like.
Yeah.
But okay, now when you can take a pause, you can say, okay, what can we really do better? What's
Yeah.
working? What's not working?
Yeah.
And we're gonna. And Maria, like, she's getting strong.
Yeah, she
Every
is.
day she's getting a little stronger
Yeah.
and getting like, you know what? It's time to return
Well,
to my purpose.
And I will say too, Kev, the really cool thing about our library is, God, there's so many
you can
shows.
say it like we say in Medford.
What?
Library.
Library?
Your
Oh,
library.
okay.
Yeah, my
The cool thing about
library.
our library is is there's so many shows that weren't properly promoted or like
Yeah.
weren't promoted
Oh my
well
God.
back when they started. So
Mhm.
I put out a post on Instagram the other day and was asking you guys like who you wanted to see on. A lot of the answers were people we've had on before.
Yeah.
So we're going to strategically kind of pick a rerun schedule, and I really want you guys to watch these episodes and
yeah.
re-listen and
To
or listen for
repackage.
the first time,
Mhm.
because there were some really powerful episodes that I think should be listened to again. And I mean, honestly, all these episodes I think need more than one listen. There's so much to absorb
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who do comment, say, I had to hear it listen twice or
Yeah.
even 3 times.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. So a
So
little brief State of the Union here.
yeah.
Little big post. But Kelsey, until then, what?
Oh my gosh, Kevin, until then, you guys be nice people, make good choices, change your schedule, change your life, and be present. And listen to Regular Guy Friday tomorrow.
Oh, holla. Okay, where on that show we say, don't stand up in a canoe, don't eat yellow snow,
Don't spit
and
into the wind.
leave your money on the dresser when hiring a prostitute.
Oh my God.
So just think, there's 3 takeaways right there.
What?
Boom.
Bye,
Just
you
go.
guys.
Bye, betches. Can we say that on the show?
No, that's
sorry.
for RGF.
Okay, sorry. Bye,
Oh,
Queen.
now Winnie's away.
Oh my God, Winnie's mad. Anyway, we love you guys.
We love you guys.
Peace.